My name is Jessica. I'm here with Beta Virtual Assistants. It is Saturday morning, and on Saturdays we like to talk about crypto strategies and strategy tips and all that sort of thing. And I was thinking today, what can I talk about? Because I feel like I've talked about everything over the last 6 months that we've been doing these, 8 months, 9 months? We're on our ninth month of Facebook Lives, so we've definitely talked about a lot of these things before. And then you start feeling like you're just boring and repeating yourself. But we did have someone ask us this week, somebody that their sister or something was doing a job for a crypto company, and the crypto company said, "Hey, we'll pay you in our new coin." And I'm always suspicious when this happens. So, what is an ICO? An ICO is an initial coin offering, and that is when somebody develops a new coin and tries to sell it to other people, right? So sometimes it's a big team developing a new coin, and they've got, advertising, they've got Twitter accounts, they've got Discord channels, they've got Telegram, they've got, like graphics and illustrations, they've got white papers that explain what it does and everything. And then they say, we're going to offer this new coin for sale for everybody. And they set a date, and maybe they have an initial sale where you can buy it before it's released, and then eventually it's released. And it's always interesting what happens then. In my experience, most of the ICOs that I have seen happen, they go straight up really fast, and then they crash down farther than you thought they could until they are like 0.000001 of a penny worth. People get really excited about ICOs because if you get in before it's released, and then you get in for a penny each. Okay, say you get it for a penny each, and for just a moment after the coin is released, it goes up to like 2 pennies. Well, then you've doubled your money. You've doubled your investment. So people get really excited about these initial coin offerings. And then the thing is that it often doesn't work out very well, because most of the time, when the coin is finally released and you can finally sell it and offload your investment, that's the time that everybody else can too. And there's usually people who are paid for services with the ICO coin, or there are the original owners or whatever, and they want to profit from all their hard work. So they want to sell pretty much as soon as the coin is released. And that puts a lot of downward pressure on the price of the ICO, which means that it's really hard for someone who is getting in after the coin is released to make money, at least for a while. Some of these coins do have staying power, and they are legitimate projects, and they definitely could make you money if you buy at the right time. But buying when the coin is just released and it's flying up is usually the worst time to buy, because if you buy here and then the coin crashes down to here, first of all, you could have bought more if you'd waited until it crashed. And second of all, there is no telling how soon that coin will recover from any of the activity that just happened. So when you're investing in initial coin offerings, and this is true in the stock market too, if you've heard of IPOs, which is initial public offerings, that's what it stands for. So when that company releases their stock and everybody rushes to buy it, it's kind of the same thing, where the people who were on the inside and already had it want to offload their stuff, so they start selling, and there's not as many people as they were hoping who would buy it, and so the price usually suffers for a while, and it can take a long time to recover. So if you have the opportunity to invest in an ICO, you have to go in knowing that there's a good chance you'll lose 100% of your money. So be very careful of that. Now, if you have the opportunity of investing in an ICO before it's released, you still have a really good chance of losing most, if not all, of your money, and that's not great. What happens if a project approaches you and they want to pay you in crypto? Not just any crypto. They want to pay you in their initial coin. So we had a person approach us this week, and her sister is doing some sort of job for a crypto company that is releasing a coin, and they want to pay her $2,000 in their coin. And it's like, well, okay, if their coin hasn't been released yet, how do they know it's worth $2,000? And I told this person, it's very easy for the developers to say, oh yeah, our coin, it's going to be released. It's going to be like, 1 cent each. So we'll pay you 20,000 or whatever it takes to get to $2,000. I can't do math in my head this early. We'll pay you that money in our coin and you can like profit with all of us and blah, 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 blah. I would highly caution against that, because if you want to be paid partially, if you want to take that risk in the initial coin and you want to be paid so that you can profit, you still need to get paid something real tangible for your services. And an ICO is just made up money at this point. You don't know how much it's going to be worth. You don't know if there's going to be a market for it when it is released. You don't know what the market is going to be, how much it's going to actually sell for when it gets into real world conditions. So we have a client who actually has minted a couple of coins. And when you mint a coin, you're creating the coin and you're doing all the stuff for an IPO. It's not quite as intense and detailed as an initial coin offering, mostly because an initial coin offering, it tends to evoke the idea of like a team of people working on it with all the advertising and the media and all this sort of thing, and plans and white papers and all that sort of stuff. A minted coin, anybody can go along and you write the code and you say, I just created a coin. Da, 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 da. So this person that we're working with, she's created a couple of different coins. I'm not sure how successful they have been. I haven't checked in on her in a while. But when she was first starting, she messed up the first one. First of all, there was one that got messed up and she put the wrong code in there and hackers could get to it. And it was like, oh yeah, we don't want that. But there was another one that she created and it imported into her tax account. And her tax account said she was worth $1 trillion. I was like, wow, you're worth $1 trillion. You got to be paying me a lot more to do your tax services. But it turns out that she had filled in some parameter incorrectly. And somehow the numbers for that coin somehow did get into our tax software, which you think that most of those tax softwares have limited access to numbers of these tiny new coins that haven't been really used yet. But this one happened to import in and created $1 trillion worth on her dashboard. And it was like, oh, okay, that's exciting. So the point being that there's a lot of things that go into minting a coin. Not everybody knows how to do it. But she was telling me that part of it is you do front some of the coin. So you put in a certain amount of whatever you want to invest so that the coin is worth something. And then you decide how many tokens there's going to be minted. So for instance, she could put in $100 and then she could mint the amount of tokens that you would get if each coin was a penny. Now, that doesn't go very far. So usually developers will mint like hundreds of thousands of tokens that are worth, if they've done the liquidity part and they put in like, $2,000 or something like that. Take 2,000 and then you divide it. You want hundreds of millions of tokens. You end up with a token that is worth 0.000 something. And that's great because the liquidity says, okay, this is worth this. However, if it actually follows through, it's like, as I said, when that coin is released and people can start buying and selling it in the real world, they actually get to decide what the value of that token is. Just like the stock market, just like any other market. If people get really unhappy with Apple this week, which they did, they're going to drop the Apple stock like a hot potato. And I think Apple lost $5 a share this week just because something came out about the Chinese are doing a partial ban on iPhone, which means that they're restricting their government officials from having an iPhone. And coincidentally, they also released their own new 5G phone or whatever, which will obviously be a competitor to iPhone. And isn't it weird that they're going to require their government employees to not use iPhone? And then they'll have to use their... Anyways, I mean, these are the kinds of games that go on in the crypto world and in the stock world. So overnight, Apple this week lost $5 a share. Now, $5 a share when you're worth, I forget what they're worth this week, like 172 or 100 something, if I remember right, which is possibly wrong. But in any case, okay, you've got whatever the people are willing to pay for the stock. Like if Apple suddenly declares bankruptcy, there's a very good chance that their stock will go from 170 or whatever it is to, $2. And the $2 is the people who are speculating that they'll get out of bankruptcy or something like that. And you saw this with some of those GameStop meme coin, the GameStop meme craze, where everybody pumped up GameStop really high. And there was another one, Bed Bath and Beyond or something like that, where it went really high, but this company was in bankruptcy and had no value. And it went high because people were willing to speculate and say, oh, maybe it'll come out of bankruptcy and I'll make money. And in the meantime, I'm going to buy it. And I see the stock's going up, so I'll just sell it on the way up. And then, you know, with my luck, I would be the loser at the end holding the bag going, wait, I want to sell, I want to sell. And I can't sell for anything because the company's bankrupt. There's no worth to the stock and everything like that. And it works the same way in the crypto community. Crypto is only worth what people are willing to pay for it. So in November of 2021, when I was flying high and I was like, oh, look, my accounts are going up in value. Well, Bitcoin was, people were willing to pay $60,000 or even I think it touched $70,000 for a Bitcoin. And then suddenly something happened, who knows what, people lost confidence and people got uninterested and they sold out of their Bitcoin. And the more sellers you have, the less people are willing to pay that $70,000 premium. So pretty soon, by this next summer, the Bitcoin was worth $16,000. And it's like, did Bitcoin really change its value that much? If a stock company goes through that, did they really change their value that much that they were worth, you know, millions of dollars and now they're worth hundreds of dollars? It's like, it doesn't really make sense, but that is the market at work. If people are willing to pay for it and you're in the right place with the shares in your hand and you can sell it to somebody else who's willing to pay more for it, then that's where you make money. And that's why so many people take risk on these initial coin offerings, is that they think, oh, I could make money because they get, oh my goodness, I'm involved in a couple of initial coin offerings right now of projects that are pretty new. They lay out the most amazing stories. They're like, oh, if you have one of our NFTs, we're going to pay you income every month because we're going to be making all this money from this project and that project and the other project. And they come and they say, oh, and it's like they sell a really good story. And I did actually invest in a couple of them. And we're going to see how they go because I'm not planning on getting any of my money back. It's like, I hope it works out. I really do, especially because I know people who have put in a lot more money than I have. But if the market isn't willing to pay for it, you can have all the dreams and all the plans and you could be a legit company with legit structure and everything. And then, you know, you come to market and people don't believe in you and they're going to pay $1 a share instead of you're like, oh, if this happens and this happens and this happens, well, surely it's going to go to $10 a share. And you hear this a lot from the ICO crowd, from the people who are developing their coins and everything. They believe in their project usually. Some of them are scammers. Some of them are totally out to get somebody to, they're like, here, we'll create a coin and we'll say it's worth this. And then people will magically jump in and they'll buy it and buy it and buy it and it'll be great. And we'll make all this money and then we'll get out. And we don't care what happens to them because we got our money and we ran. A lot of these end up being rug pulls, right? And you have to watch out for those too. Like when a coin is initially released, and it goes straight up and you don't see anybody selling, after a certain point, you realize that that contract has been set up that they can't sell. And that is we call that a honeypot in certain circles because you cannot sell out of it. So you just lost all of your money because the developers are going to clean out when they have gotten as many people to buy in as they can trick into doing that. And then they will run off with everybody's money and you can't do anything about it. Crypto is not a safe place and definitely you need to be aware if you are going to be investing in crypto. There's a lot of legit projects out there. There's a lot of good coins, but the initial coins, you've got to be really, really, really careful. And I'll say it again, do not put more money in than you can afford to lose because there's a really good chance it'll go to zero and you will have nothing except a good story to tell. So that's what I have to say for today on here. If you have any questions, we are always here Tuesdays and Thursdays talking about crypto and crypto taxes. Saturday mornings, we're here at 10 a.m. Eastern talking about strategy and all that sort of thing. We do have a link in the comments to our newest course. If you have bought crypto and you're not sure if you need to file taxes, or if you're not sure how to go about filing taxes, our new course will take you through just enough of the basics that you can figure out if you need help, or if you are totally cool, you got this and everything is fine. You can find out more on the link. It is a claim it and use it course, so if you do not actually take action once you've claimed the course, you will lose access to it. So claim it, go through it. It's not a very long course, very easy, very quick, very basic, but if you are one of those people who actually need some guidance and you're not sure what the next step is, definitely take it, because it'll give you just enough information to get you moving in the right direction. And then if you need more help, we are always here. You can message us, you can email us, you can find us here on Facebook Lives, and we would love to answer questions if we ever saw any, but I don't see any again today, so we're good. Coming up soon, we are working on actually getting our blog functional. I'm so excited because we're going to put these Facebook videos up on YouTube so they live a little longer. We're not sure, but we think Facebook has been deleting these videos even though we told them not to. So putting them up on YouTube means they are more permanent, means more people can find us by searching for us and all this sort of things. So we're moving forward with that, and a blog to kind of go along with it, with hopefully good articles. If you have any questions that you'd like us to cover in a future Facebook Live or in a blog post, let us know. We love content ideas. And other than that, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Nebraska, and I'm going to sign off. So I'll see you later.